Say yes to new beginnings.
Yes.
Say yes to new beginnings.
Yes.
Say yes to.
Prior to setting up corporate shepherds, you have done exceedingly well in the corporate world. Anyone who wants to succeed and thrive in the corporate world, what must the person do?
I think the first thing is you must be destination minded. Where are you heading? And to a large extent, that really sits around understanding your life purpose. You see, when you take on a job, there's a difference between a job and a career. Now, a career is a series of jobs, but a job is what you do to keep yourself going. That's not a career. So when people go into corporate, there must be an end in mind. The end in mind is, if your end in mind is that I'm working to be able to earn money, then a job is a job is a job. You will jump from one job to the other because of 15 naira difference, but you will not build a career. But if you want to build a career, you can start with one that does not even pay you so well, but your eyes are there for you to learn. When you learn, you start with the mind. That is why the mentality you need is that of a farmer. A farmer's mentality. Almighty God knew. That's why in the book of Genesis, the first assignment he gave man was to go and tend the garden. Farming speaks to everything, the nature of God. Is seed, a seed, then the ground. There must be communication for the seed to be able to sprout. When it sprouts, it comes out and then it then takes shape. And someday it will grow enough to become a tree. And that's why later on, the fruits of that tree will become what will heal people. So it's a process. It is a marathon. It's not a dash. So if you go into the corporate world and say, many people now say, I just want to do this job for 6 months and then I go and set up my own. You're already failing. Because for you to excel, there are two things that must happen. Structure, process. Structure is like the skeleton. Skeleton is when you add flesh that you now see whether this person is robust or not. Then you need processes to be able to bring all the collaborative elements together so that they're tying before you now need people. People should always be the last part. So anytime you bring people first before structure, there will be problem. So a lot of people go into jobs without structure and without process. That's why they crash.
Interesting.
If you want to take on, I tell you, my last job with L'Oreal, I'll say this on the live count. I had an offer from Red Bull to be MD of to manage the business in West and Central Africa. I had an offer from Guinness, my first love, to return to go back to Guinness. It was a level 2 role just under the MD. And I had the third one, which was L'Oreal. Those were the 3 jobs that were right in front of me. I will tell you point blank that the greatest influence for my going to L'Oreal was my son, Akanimo. He picked the L'Oreal job. My wife wanted me to go back to Guinness because we stay on the mainland. She didn't want me traveling again to the island because the office was on the island. She said, you don't need to give yourself this traffic. With all this traffic, you already know the terrain. It's a familiar, because I put my offer on the table for my family, my son and my wife. But my son said to me that there's nothing to prove with Guinness. You don't need it. I think you should go for L'Oreal. It's something new. It will be exciting. It's beauty. So I took the job at L'Oreal. And I went there. Of course, it was exciting and new. Of course, the offer was better. But I'm showing you why I took it. But the biggest thing that made me endorse L'Oreal was because of ethics. L'Oreal is an ethically driven company. Number one, ethics. So at that level, going back as a managing director, if I want to take anything now, I would look at your stand on ethics, ethical leadership. So I don't just jump or kiss any toad. Even clients, when they want to give me a brief now, what I check for is ethics. Because I don't know how to say I'm sorry. I will say I'm sorry, but I'm saying that somebody comes to you and say, you must do this for me to get this, I say I'm sorry. That's where I mean I'm sorry. They will get offended. So you see, the whole notion, and that's why my master classes are starting again. I'm going to have a master class February 1. I've had one in August. It was meant to happen in November, but God had a different plan. But I want to focus on career. I want to start with middle managers and how they can build their competences. Because many people are taking on jobs without building competency. Your competence or competencies show the skill that you have. But many run after skills. I want to build my skills here. No. Why do you go and build a skill when nobody sees it? You don't cast your pearls before swines. Or if you are competent, they'll say, Azu Arinze is competent. Azu, let me play with your head and mind now. If there is an offer for a job, what they say is, we need a man or woman. But when they say we need a man or woman, to do what? We need someone that can help us unlock this door and then put a hinge that will allow the door open and close. That's because of the job. They now need somebody. It's not the other way that they say bring somebody and finding something to do, which some people do. So they clash. So when they now see, oh, there's Azu, there's Idy, there's Henry, which of these three can create, then you tell your story. That is where history comes in. What you have done before is what you are now going to display, and they take you to an assessment center, then your competence becomes, and they are ready to put a wager on you. They will put a bet on you. Competence. Then you transition.
Interesting. Now, what was the biggest challenge that you overcame in the corporate world?
Well, the biggest challenge, I would always say, the biggest challenge is the people challenge. Because anywhere you have human beings, there will always be challenges. So I can give you an example. When I got into Cadbury as commercial director, Cadbury was going through some very tough times then. That was when the company was already down and out. So they bring this young guy from Coca-Cola, 41, and then I had my first 90 days on what I wanted to do. And it started with my team. I went around the entire country. I spent at the minimum 90 minutes with every single staff in my team. And they were over 140.
Wow.
In the process of it, I discovered 128 were from one part of the country. And so when I now wanted to put them through an assessment so that you put a square peg in a square hole, the whole thing about tribalism started. Oh, this Calabar boy, this man from the east, he wants to come and destroy, has an agenda. And I kept saying to them, guys, perish the thought. That's not me. But I had to demonstrate. I didn't bother trying to convince them. I stayed on the course. And I did promise that whole assessment process, at the end, I want to have my rag red. I have people that have put, if you're not well, okay, you're not good, put you red, amber, green, it's a rag status. So I could just look at it like traffic light. I knew where the greens were, they were good. Ambers, I needed to move them to green. And the reds, all the reds, I would not fire anybody, but I put all of them on PIP. And when the time came, I put all of them on PIP. I personally trained them for the 6 months I put them on PIP. I was having sessions with them every month. What I'm saying to you, you're going to publish it, and there will be people that were in my team, the commercial team of Capri Nigeria. Within that period and that space, between 2007 and 2010, when I started in September, many of them were like, this guy is coming. So, with the tribal card, who am I? But after 6 to 9 months, all of that disappeared. Because even at the end, people from technical came to commercial. They all came in from different parts of the business, and they came into marketing or sales. And they saw that meritocracy was the order of the day. I don't care where you come from. I don't care who your boss is. But you can tell those that will be promoted because there were reviews. And we will sit down for 2-3 days going around the country. And I had my transfer, I had a board. If you are not performing, because I will sit down, everybody in the team will present to me and the leadership team. As you're there, they'll say, put this man, transfer this man. He's not doing well. Transparency. So when I started, these are the guys I was saying, but I had to demonstrate it as a leader. At the end, they believed Capri, we bounced back, and the company bounced back. The team put everything together, and cross-functionally, we delivered. So the people challenge.
Okay. What is the costliest mistake that anyone can make in the corporate world?
When your sense of judgment is very faulty, to cost you. Judgment, balanced judgment, is a function of 4 things. Number 1 is analytical rigor. Azu, if you miss that piece, you see there are 4 stages. There are 4 stages to get to balanced judgment in terms of decision making. Number 1, you need analytical rigor. Based on that rigor, you are able to then spot issues. Second stage. The third stage is when you frame the issues, and then you can single-mindedly take a decision because of your ability to frame it. When you take that decision, it's a balance between the head and the heart. That's proper decision making. When people take decisions in corporate without going through that process and it bombs, they'll put themselves in trouble. So you must apply rigor. Numbers speak. Don't just gloss over anything. Many people say the devil is in the details. No, the rigor that your eyes, you have to train. Yeah, like David said, blessed is the Lord that teaches my hand to, my fingers, my hands to war and my fingers to fight. These eyes, you spot the gorilla. You must be able to see. Many people look at, you must be able to spot from the forest. You must spot the gorilla. 30,000 feet, you spot the gorilla, but when you come down, you see the trees. When you miss that rigor, your decision-making process will be faulty. That's where you're going to be fired. So when you see people making mistakes, they didn't apply rigor.